One of our favorite guests here on Polk Place is the SPCA of Florida. They've always got something interesting for us, always giving us great information, and it's not going to be any different today. Here with us is Jessica Lawson. She is the Community Relations Manager at SPCA of Florida, and also Connie Johnson, the Safety Net Manager at SPCA of Florida. Ladies, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
And you have somebody with you.
This is Gizmo.
Gizmo.
Say hello, Gizmo.
Now, Gizmo's special, isn't he?
Yes, all of our pets are special, but he has some really good qualities that we want to share today.
Well, tell me about Gizmo.
Gizmo is a senior resident. He's around 10 years old. He represents the type of dog that really you have to be careful with, not specifically, but all pets you need to be careful with this weather. But he has the shorter muzzle. Mm-hmm. It's harder for them to breathe. He's elderly, so you have to be careful because they overheat. And he has the type of coat that you can trim and cut, but never shave.
Now, why not shave? Like, what is it about his fur that you can't cut it that short?
Well, a lot of people think that by shaving their dogs that it's making them cooler, but actually it exposes their skin to the sun. So really that little bit of fur leaves them, obviously cooler, but it also protects them against the rays of the sun.
It's like the difference for us,
Right.
Short haircut feels comfortable, you shave it off, and then you get sunburn.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, Gizmo is a cute dog, and of course, the SPCA has tons of animals that come through that are just absolutely adorable. Let's take a few minutes and talk about the SPCA and what they do for Polk County and the animals that you have there.
Sure. One of the things that we're really trying to focus on is not just only the animals in our shelter, but all the animals throughout the community. So we're really working on partnering with the community and engaging the community in the well-being and welfare of animals. So we have our community cat program, which offers right now, thanks to a grant, free spay and neuter for free roaming, unowned neighborhood cats. We also do a lot, which Connie can talk about. Part of our safety net program internally is our open paw program. Connie's role is to make sure that once the animals do get adopted, that those guardians have everything they need to keep the animals in the home. We offer a workout program with your animal, so if you get a rambunctious pup, you're able to come and do Thank Dog Boot Camp. And SPCA is really just working with the community to make sure that we keep animals enriched while they're with us, and then also, safe, so that if they're out in the community, the community cats, they're spayed or neutered, they're vaccinated, and then also once they leave, we want them to stay in their homes.
Connie, tell us a little bit about the Safety Net program.
Well, Safety Net, like Jessica said, is definitely to help the owners bond with their dogs, help them if they have any questions to make sure that that animal does stay in that home, whether it be a kitten, a cat, a dog, or a puppy. And one thing that we do is we do our follow-up calls, which once an animal is adopted, we don't want people to think that, okay, this is your dog now, we don't want anything to do with it, it's over. We are there for them no matter what. If there are issues, we do follow-up calls within around 48 hours just to give them time to acclimate to the home and see if there's something that the new pet owner has questions about, or they're just not sure about, or they've never had this type of animal before and they're not clear on how to correct a behavior or things like that. And many of these issues can be taken care of right over the phone by giving them a few tips, and it really does save a lot of the pets from coming back.
And, I think for pet owners that's a huge benefit, because you can spend hours and hours just trying to research how to take care of your pet,
right.
Whereas you guys already know it. You know exactly what needs to be done, and so a simple phone call can make a huge difference.
Well, and they know they're not left on their own. They're not alone because, let's face it, the general public, they don't do it every day like we do. And
Right.
a simple little question that we could have an answer for in like 20 seconds, maybe something that's really causing them some grief. What are you doing, silly boy?
That's one thing about having the animals on the show. You just never know what they're going to do.
Where are you going?
That's also, if people have questions, even if they haven't adopted from us, we always encourage people, share your questions with us, give us a call. Getting back to like the summer safety tips, people might not realize that you think dogs are down lower to the pavement, so you really have to watch, how long you're outside on hot pavement. And the same, you wouldn't necessarily run barefoot in Florida on, the concrete, so your animals are the same, their pads are very sensitive, so you want to make sure and be careful with that. Always fresh, cool water, shady spots. There's just just so much that summer brings that's, exciting, but it's also poses risk.
Well, and I think, that's one of the, it's summertime, kids are out of school, parents are looking to do things with their kids. They take the kids and the dog to the park. The dog's out exercising. You don't really think about it because the kids aren't thirsty, but the dog might be.
Right. Well, and another aspect of that, too, is when you do take your children and your dogs and you go to the park, sometimes you might want to stop and get lunch or something, but please never, ever, ever leave your dog in a car. That can heat up so fast, it's unbelievable, and it will be fatal. And I believe it's also illegal to leave a dog unattended in a car. It's just not the right thing to do no matter what. The heat is just too intense here.
Definitely. Even on cooler days, think, it's only 75, it's only 78, but that car, within I think it's like a minute and a half, gets 20 degrees warmer.
If it's in the sun, definitely.
Right. It's much better to leave the animals at home. The other thing, if you are leaving your animals at home and going out to enjoy festivities, say like fireworks for 4th of July, or even just, a neighbor's barbecue or something, you always want to make sure that your pet is secured. And the same if you're having a party at your house. Doorbells ringing might startle animals. They could dart out. One of the things that we always recommend is the microchips.
Absolutely. The fireworks scare them half to death. And even if you're not home and your pet is always good in your home, you go out for some type of activity and there's fireworks, it could scare the dog enough to where they could break a window and get out because all they want to do is get away from it. And I can't tell you how many times that the numbers on intakes in all animal shelters around the country during New Year's Eve, 4th of July, those intake numbers just skyrocket that time of the year. It's horrible. And the pets are scared to death, which puts them already on a defense, could be a bad beginning for the animal to go into a shelter.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, just the stress with animals in the house, in the home. What are some of the things to look out for? Like you said, obviously loud noises like fireworks, things like that. Company. What should you be looking out for to keep your dog, calm and collected?
Right. You have to think that, not your animal is used to your family being there, and while you might have kids in your family, if you have, say, 4 other couples who have additional kids, that might startle, especially, if they're younger kids, quicker movement. So you want to make sure, we always recommend that if you're unsure, put your dog in a separate room, or your cat, make sure they have food source, water, toys to keep them entertained, check on them often, but sometimes it's best not to have them right there, as everyone's coming and going and entering. The other thing is that oftentimes people will help, here, have a little tasty treat, and we see a lot of those cases in our medical center where, bones are swallowed or tinfoil is swallowed, so you want to make sure that your guests aren't giving your dog or cat little samples of anything.
And some things that humans eat are toxic to animals, and people don't even realize that.
And you guys have lists of some of this stuff, toxic foods and things like that.
A lot of people in Florida, of course, they have pools in their yards, and they have pets, and especially if it's a new pet that they haven't had in the environment, it's very, very important that you take your time slowly and teach that dog how to get in and out of your pool. They're all going to fall in it once in a while, but it's most important that they know how to get out. Try not to let them consume the water because it has the chlorine in it. It could give them an upset stomach, and you don't want the results of that for sure. And rinse them. After they get out of the pool, the chlorine on their skin, they should be rinsed for that. But it's most important that they know how to get out of a pool.
Didn't even think about that.
Right. Lots of people think that all dogs can swim, but some dogs actually do struggle to swim.
Yes. Well, and especially if they haven't been acclimated to something like that can be very startling.
And they're a small dog. They're in the middle of a huge pool. They don't know how to get out. They don't know how to go this way. They don't know if they go that way. They need to know where the stairs are or whatever access they have to get out.
Now, since we live in the wonderful state of Florida where it's warm pretty much all year round, we deal with bugs all year round, but I'm sure summer is even worse. Let's talk a little bit about taking care of your dog as far as fleas, ticks, things like that go.
Well, right now there is a terrible flea problem in the state of Florida because we haven't had a cold winter that actually froze out the fleas, and so they're unbelievable. And products that have worked for years and years are not working. There are some that do because obviously most of us in our shelter, we use different products and we find out which works and which doesn't, and those are the ones that we try to let people know about. But repellent, if insect repellent on your animal, always make sure that it's safe for animals. It doesn't have to be specific for animals, but it has to say on the label that it is okay for animals too, because their skin is different than ours.
And is that a good practice to take, is when you take them out, putting insect repellent on them? Or
not necessarily.
Or
you don't want to overdo it. Chemicals are never really good, for their skin, because it does seep into the skin and gets into the bloodstream. I would definitely keep an eye on them. Citronella is good. Don't let them eat it or anything.
Right.
But citronella around the candles helps. And if they're bothering you, they're going to be bothering your animal.
The other thing is prevention. Prevention is always key, particularly with like mosquitoes, with heartworm. You always want to make sure that your animal gets a yearly heartworm test and is on preventative product to
Every
make sure.
month.
Every
Is
month.
that what heartworm comes from? It comes from mosquitoes?
It is. It's a mosquito bite.
One mosquito can infect your dog. And even if your dog, everyone says, oh, my dog doesn't go outside. Well, of course he does.
Yeah.
But still, a mosquito can come in through a screen. And it takes one mosquito, and all it does is it can bite, and what it does is it sucks in the blood, and then it regurgitates the blood back in. And that's when the larva gets in there. And that will infect your dog. And if you are not protecting your dog, it will, in fact, kill them.
Wow.
And the same people don't realize cats can also get heartworm.
Exactly.
Your dog can, let in mosquitoes coming in or out, or again, it's Florida. Mosquitoes get in regardless. So it's important. They do have a lot of people don't realize, but they do make cat products also that have the heartworm preventative.
Excellent. Well, this is great. I love it when you guys bring on the animals. Hey, Gizmo, he's out. He's out cold.
He likes the floor.
He likes that floor.
Yeah.
That nice, cool floor there. I appreciate you guys coming on, talking to us about taking care of your pets over these summer months when the heat is so bad.
And they don't have shoes on, so when you're walking them outside, that ground, the asphalt is very hot.
Keep them on the grass.
So keep that, and just limit the time that they're out there.
Right. A lot of people think you can exercise the same summer, spring, whatever, but summer is much harder. We don't want to exercise so much during summer.
So they don't want to.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming on, and we appreciate it. Please come back anytime. We always love you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for
appreciate
having
that.
us.
It's the SPCA of Florida. You can find their main office is in Lakeland, but like Jessica said, they are going out in the community. They're out everywhere, and of course, you can always contact them on their website. Phone number. The phone number is 863-646. SPCA, that's 863-646-7722, and their website is spcaflorida.org.